All right, thank you so much here. The program still this morning on ITV, independent television from our Benin Network Center. And of course, we are live, direct, and ready to give you the first discussion on our discussion segment of this morning. I have my co-anchors here, Joshua Okata. Joshua, one more time, good morning. And Anu Oluwapo is also here with us this morning. Anu, good morning. Last time I saw it was in Lagos. You're welcome back to Benin.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Evans.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So the whole story, is now coming into reality now, talking about President Donald Trump when he was sworn in on the 20th of January, 2025. And of course, he promised Americans that his policy was going to be America first. And one of the ways he's doing that now is to ensure that illegal immigrants are being deported as we speak now from the United States of America. Well, before this time, we understand that there were some states known as sanctuary states. Now, those states, if you are there, you could hide under state laws. Even if you are not documented, you could be there and all that and all that. But for the fact that Donald Trump came on board, he gave an executive order that if you are in America, and of course you are not documented, it shows that you are an illegal immigrant and you are not supposed to be there. Now, ICE is a special agency. That's the immigration department agency that is responsible for deportation, is going to streets, raiding establishments in the United States of America, all across the states in the U.S., and of course looking for illegal immigrants to be deported. We have videos that we made, and of course as this discussion goes on, we're going to be rolling the videos so that you begin to really understand what we are talking about. As at yesterday, a total of 4.1 million have been arrested, so to say, and they are going to be deported to various countries of the world. And out of 4.1 million of these illegal immigrants, 3,690 of them are blacks, and of course they are Nigerians. So in a few days from now, our airports, we're going to be welcoming these illegal Nigerians. They're not illegal Nigerians, I beg your pardon. These illegal immigrants who are Nigerians in the U.S. We're going to be welcoming them back home. So to look at all this morning, we are so privileged to have two gentlemen on our discussion segment this morning. First and foremost, please join me to welcome Ikpomusa Igage, who is joining us virtually from Sweden this morning. Ikpomusa, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for having me on the show.
And also to Nowita Igbutako is right here, the Syria author and the international conflict resolution expert. Nowita, you're welcome to the program this morning.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure once again.
Yeah. All right, so perhaps I will start with you. You are the Nigerian in diaspora because we are looking at diasporan issues here, and your brothers and sisters face mass deportation from the United States of America. So the big question we are asking is how will they fit in if eventually they are here with us any moment from now? Ikpomusa.
Well, for me, I feel the Nigerian government should actually brace up because there will actually be a communication between both states, the US and Nigeria, as regards the deportation. So it's not going to be just like a surprise on the Nigerian government. So the Foreign Affairs Ministry and NITCOM actually have to prepare themselves to take their biometrics and find a way to integrate them back into the system by giving them startup funds to kind of help them to get going when they arrive in Nigeria. So I think when they drop them at the airport, our government have to come in and take it up from there. So there has to be a government-to-government relationship on this, and we can play our own part by helping our citizens that have been brought back home to actually integrate, even at the state level. So for me, that's my take on the issue.
Okay. If you can hear me, I would love you to give us a feel of how life is like for illegal migrants, who gets to live abroad, because the way they got into the country, first off, is not even clear or pure, as I would say. So how is it like living there? And then don't you think it's a good thing for them to return back to your homeland where you're free to do some basic things and you do not have to hide, or you do not have to have the fear of, oh, I didn't come here through the right means and all? How is life like, being an illegal migrant?
I'm just actually trying to envision that because For me, I'm actually thinking of how did Nigerians actually get there first of all, because when the whole issue of undocumented or illegal migrants started, I was thinking more it's going to affect more of the North and South American countries. But for the case of Nigeria, I'm trying to like probably they went there on one reason or the other, either visiting or whatever, and probably after it elapsed and they couldn't actually integrate themselves into other visa classes. But definitely, it's actually a hard life because you're scared. You're just scared of the unknown. You're just running, and whenever you see a law enforcement officer, even if it's not coming for you, you're just scared, and you really can't have your life, sleep, and have that peace of mind. So for me, it's actually it's actually very, very terrifying, and you don't know any day the day it's going to happen, and then probably you just get stopped by a police officer, and then he asks for an ID. And then because of the integrated electronic system for their, in terms of managing immigration and customs, they can actually verify your status on the go there. So, and from there, you could just get picked and taken to the deportation camp where they have to prepare such a person to think they're back home. So it's actually a very horrifying experience. And it seems most governments are all around the world have actually been more like, there've been this rise of government that are not actually pro-immigration, even in Europe and elsewhere. And then for the case of the undocumented migrant, I think it's the country stands to actually take a foothold on legal migration and then rather having undocumented or illegal migrants in the country.
All right, so quickly, just right now, viewers out there, the video you saw, we made it is recent. That was as at yesterday. You can see the federal officials there, known as ICE, raiding establishments all across the United States of America, and of course getting these illegal immigrants arrested and taking them, to their various countries. You also saw, aircrafts, Air Force aircraft, the U.S. Air Force aircraft, bundling these people back home. Joshua.
All right, thank you so much for that update. And of course, my next question is directed to our guest here, Mr. Nwecha. And if you listen to what my co-anchor said earlier, she asked the question how these, so to speak, illegal immigrants found their way into the U.S. Some, like they say on the street, anyway is a way. So however you get into the U.S., what matters is that you are on the soil of the United States. Now, my question to you would be, is there no sort of cover? Because some of these persons, if you try to classify them, they are not just criminals who are just marauding the streets of the U.S. Some are working in an establishment, perhaps cleaners or caregivers. Is there any sort of cover that these organizations can give them? For some reasons, some might have overstayed, and the documentation process takes a while. Perhaps financial implications will come. Is there any sort of cover that these organizations can give on behalf of these particular candidates who fall out of status, as it were?
First of all, which organization are you referring to?
Persons who work with establishments.
Okay, all those, yes, it's clear.
Right there in the U.S.
You see, you are talking of an executive order.
Yeah.
And you are talking of the United States of America. You are not talking of Nigeria, when the Nigerian president will give an executive order and one guy in one corner will flout it. The fear of the White House is the beginning of wisdom. So, and everything is documented, everything is digital.
So when you say the fear of the White House is the beginning of wisdom, is there no place of human face in the law such that persons who are contributing to the GDP, who pay their taxes, even if they might have fallen out of status, is there no sort of waiver, so to speak, that can be given to them?
Such waivers will be facilitated by an act of concern, act of compassion.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe for that, some organizations, without letting the White House know, without letting yes, because the law is law. That if you are illegal immigrant, you don't have the necessary paper, you have overstayed, and you are not supposed to be in US a day longer, and you fall into that category to be deported, except there's a clause in the executive order that says, oh, probably we have some guys who are good citizens, who are taxpayers, but the tone, the content of the executive order is very blanket. When I say blanket, is illegal immigrants. So except some organizations, out of compassion, those who have some human beings anywhere in the world, will say they will cover. Maybe they will find a way with the organization to say, oh, man, don't come to work today, or let's do some shifting. That would be discretionary.
Because I know some certain Nigerians who are working in the United States, especially in some hospitality organizations, some hotels, as chefs.
Yes.
So are you saying that the service they render to the organization, and by virtue of paying taxes to the government too, they will be considered? That's what my question.
The point I'm making, you don't seem to get it. The point I'm making is that this is an executive order for the presidency, and it's very blanket. There's no clause. So such organizations, such employers have no, official cover or something to hide anybody. But maybe out of compassion, as I said, there's some good human beings who say, this guy is a fantastic guy. He's been with us for 10 years. He's been working. He's paying his tax.
Crime-free.
Crime-free. Maybe that guy or some organizations can have a way to do things, to cover them. But unlike
the Nigerian
factor, what I want to say here, where people don't respect the establishment, they don't respect institutions, they don't respect the law, they break the law, at will, with impunity. I think we should learn something from that, for the American system, that if an order is given, we should be patriotic. I think that's what has come out of this issue now. Right, okay. They're trying to be patriotic and obey the law, even if the presidency is not even in your cocoon.
Now, speaking about obeying the law, I would love us to also note that it's not just Nigeria that's the only country moving out. Because just recently we saw Colombia, and we saw a saga that happened with the Colombian government and the U.S. as well. So, do you think that would actually occur when these guys are back to the country, and then we'll now have the Nigerian government saying, we don't want you here, how about you go back there, or you stay there, or you don't even accept them back to the country? Because we saw that happen in Colombia a couple of days ago. But
that should be resolved.
Okay.
When President Trump saw the defiance for Colombian president, that guy is a tough guy, and he's very pragmatic. He issued 25% tariff on Colombia. You see, in another 1 or 2 weeks, if you still refuse the American plane to drop in Bogota, it's the capital of Colombia, he said we'll increase the tariff to 50%. That is a leader, despite his shortcomings. So talking about how Nigerians, indigenous in a country for Nigeria for instance, there's no situation like that. But we expect the Nigerian government, eventually, when those legal immigrants will come back to Nigeria, we expect the Nigerian government to embrace them with open arms. Because why I say so, these are people that have led this country, they went out of this country to survive. Because the Nigerian situation is suffocating. We cannot run away from that fact. The Nigerian situation has never been so suffocating than the way we see it now. So for people, so they are breadwinners. These people working hotels, collecting dollars. When you change it here, it becomes big money. So I want to advise the presidency in Nigeria to embrace them with open arms and create a special agenda, a program, so that this guy will not come here and become and be lured into criminality.
Now, talking about programs, if you listen to what Iponwosa said, he said they should get some level of starter packs. I really want to understand, in its entirety, what a starter pack looks like for persons who, like you said, have exit, out of the country for say 5-10 years, settle down there thinking life is rolling.
Already a big man, so to say.
And suddenly you say you want to repatriate them back to the country. So what kind of starter packs are we looking at in response to what you want?
Well, starter pack is not the issue, because there are some other, packages that could be done. Because you cannot run away from the fact that financial support is the biggest thing that happen in any economy.
Okay.
All right. Financial support is a big an issue that the president should look at. No, what is startup pack for artisans, for people who are just coming out of secondary school? I don't agree with startup pack for such category of Nigerians.
Let's go over to Iponwosa one more time. Now, for our viewers out there, for the sake of emphasis, we are talking about those your relatives in the U.S. Sending $100, $200, $500 every month. Those are the people we are talking about now. Because you really cannot quantify the amount of remittal, that comes into this country on a monthly basis as a result of these brothers, sisters, outside the country. Now, for the sake of emphasis too, we also need to emphasize some of the figures that we have here is that as of November 2024, that is 24th November 2024, ICE, remember about that agency I told you that is responsible for immigration and all that in the U.S., had 1,445,549 non-citizens. That's the way they put them now on ICE's docket, final removal order. They already had that those people were due for removal. Then, of course, in that number, we understand that a country like Mexico, El Salvador, and of course China, India, Guatemala, and Brazil top the list. Thank God Nigeria is not there in that list. But as it stands now, we understand that the number swelled to 4.1 million, immigrants that are present illegally in the U.S. So those are the people that are facing deportation as it stands now. Now, because we all also need to be pragmatic about this whole thing. We must look at the flip side of this action. Because for Donald Trump, he wants to reposition America. But we are looking at the implication to the American nation. Because whether we like it or not, these guys, they pay taxes and all that. And of course, they've been employed in various categories, contributing their quota to the nation's development in the U.S. Now, the question is, do you think Donald Trump is making the right step this time? Can America withstand the implication of this, decision?
Well, whether it's taking the right step or not, I think it just it shows you the power of leadership and how you can drive a country based on your policies and your ideas. And this is Donald Trump's ideas and how he wants to go about it. It has always been get undocumented or illegal migrants out of the country. But I think that's its policy, because even in the inaugural speech and some of the ceremonies that actually accompanied the inauguration, I think I saw one of the preachers appealing to him about this policy to look based on those who are actually seeking asylum based on political persecution. She appealed to him for some certain classes of people that are to show mercy, or some certain classes of people that are political for asylum, who are being persecuted in their country, one thing or the other. So she appealed to him on that, but I think it's actually left to him to actually decide, because I actually looked at his body language. He was that day when the preacher actually appealed to him, he wasn't actually very, very keen. Whether to say it's right or wrong, but I think it's a policy direction from him, and you can see how all the apparatus of the state is actually galvanizing, particularly the federal and some states to actually implement that decision. So I can't say right or wrong, but in the words of the preacher, she just appealed to him to show mercy based on some static category of people who need to be in the country based on their situations.
The deportation is at sight. That's what we understand. At sight means that once you are seen, and of course they approach you, ICE officials approach you, and once they ask you questions, you cannot really show there that you are legal, that your presence is legal. You won't go home. They just bundle you. They bundle you and off you go to the nearest deportation camp, and they gather you there, and you face deportation. It's really not, I don't want to talk about it, because I know what these guys, what they put together, to embark on this journey. Yeah. Some sold all their properties and all that, and of course you are deporting them back home. Joseph, somehow.
It's very disheartening.
Yeah.
Very disheartening. And these persons, like you said, have sold everything they once had. Some even go as far as borrowing just to make up for the difference, and then they move. Okay. And all of a sudden they are told to come back. Some could commit suicide because obviously, what am I coming home to do? Yeah. I was asking my guest here that what kind of starter packs will you give or offer to this person that will be commensurate with what they already
they've been having.
And already what the Nigerian system is, even for those who are citizens of Nigeria, what kind of quality of life do they live?
So all right, so we also understand that the whole thing seems to be taking a continental dimension now.
It is.
We understand that the South America as a continent is not too comfortable with this decision, and leaders of South America are putting heads together to see how they can halt Donald Trump. But I wonder, for a man that is so dogged and he's so resolute on what to do. Now, let's bring the African, Africa as a continent into this whole discussion now. What do you think the AU, because we're also looking at Africans of various nations, in the U.S., Nowita?
Well, thank God you just said the South American countries, their leaders there, they're already thinking, they're already putting their thinking cap. How do we confront Donald Trump? Coming to Africa, that is sad situation. There's lack of leadership. What AU as at this moment, African Union, so what to have issued a statement.
A statement, yeah.
Even the Nigerian presidency, so what to have issued a statement. For crying out loud.
I say congratulations. This
is a bilateral thing too. Nigerian president is the president of the most popular country in Black Africa, Nigeria. Tinubu, talking of Tinubu. American president is there. I think we would have expected maybe a statement. Oh, Mr. President, you are doing this policy, you want to reorganize your country, but just like somebody, before I talk to African leaders, just like what that bishop said on one of the activities during the inauguration of Donald Trump, that bishop, that lady, the lady was brutally frank. The lady demonstrated humanity, demonstrated compassion, and confront the president. He said, have mercy. You once had a problem. You once lost an election, but now you are back to power. It's God that saved you. Remember, you escaped an assassination attempt. You man told him, Donald Trump. Donald Trump was seated, few years to the bishop. So if such,
But you got the response of the president.
As social, what do you expect from Donald Trump? We know his characteristics. He's a very dogged, it's a very lousy, it's a very, how will I put it?
Be careful with the word lousy.
He's temperamental. He's very temperamental. He doesn't listen, and he seems to be playing God. Donald Trump is playing God. You don't play God. And before I talk about Africa, I just talk African leaders. Why did the Democrats, why are they not anti-immigrants? Because at the end of the day, the American economy will suffer. The other day, a senator from the state of Connecticut or somewhere, he said, my father was a Chinese immigrant. The man has risen to be Attorney General of that state. He's one of those states that have sued the presidency in America. He's a Chinese guy. He said, I came to America in 1973. He said, my father was an illegal immigrant. The guy said it. He said, but to go to the system, he was born in America. So even Donald Trump, did they fall from the sky? They all at a point migrated to America to survive. So for me, we have taught that. If some personalities could confront Donald Trump, African Union as a body, even the ECOWAS, can they issue maybe 2-paragraph statement? President, show compassion. Just as you said, Evans. Oh, not all of these guys you are bringing, none of them are criminals. Yeah. That's some people who are contributing to your economy. As I said, the Democrat agenda, they are not anti-immigrant. They know that. They contribute to the, even Elon Musk, the biggest guy in terms of money in the whole world now, migrated from South Africa. With virtually nothing when he came, which is more than the United States. He went to the process in our perpetuate his papers. What are we talking, gentlemen? Donald Trump is just trying to be a nationalist. He's trying to play to the gallery. Right. But take me because of what I know. Thank God we went to school and we know what we're saying. Thank God.
You're going to fire a suit?
No, not that.
As a Nigerian?
No, not that. I said, thank God, in the next few 2 years, American economy will suffer. Because the other day I watched on CNN, when the ICE guys, they went to one school, to see the view of the proprietor. Say, what are this citizen thing? What do we do? The man said, these people they do the dirty things in America. They wash dishes, they work in the farms, mechanized farming, they do this. And an American citizen would not do that. They prefer to take drugs. They are miscreant anywhere in the world. They are miscreant in downtown New York.
Let us
No, that's the fact of the matter.
We don't
We have what they call it?
in Lagos.
We have in New York.
Yeah.
We have people.
Okay, let's move back to
So African Union, let me quick say that.
Okay.
We expect African Union to have come out with a coherent statement.
Absolutely. Now,
Just to protect the black race, protect African continent.
Let's kindly move back to our guest in Sweden, Iponwosa, and also get his feel regarding some other pressing issues, because now this has already kick-started, and I feel like the big question and the next question would be, with this deportation, it's not only happening in Nigeria. I saw a list of other countries,
yes.
but interestingly, Nigeria number was 3,000 and you know, something added to it, and I saw a country that had just 2 illegal migrants there.
Yes.
So Iponwosa, do you think this new development would discourage persons from going through the illegal means of, you know, going to other countries? What do you think regarding it?
But I think in the US case precisely, for Nigerians, I think these are actually people kind of who went there for one reason or the other, depending on the visa class, who have actually kind of probably overstayed or couldn't legalize, more of like, how I put it now, the word now, kind of legalize or kind of find other visa class to actually get into. Because if you talk about illegal migration, the US is quite a far from us. So most likely you go there on visiting and probably overstayed and you couldn't get a job that actually legalizes your stay beyond your visit, or find something legal to kind of keep you in the country. I guess those are the kind of Nigerians we have there. When you talk about the illegal migrants, mainly, those are the ones that actually cross the border, mainly the South American countries that come into America. So for Nigerians, in terms of discouraging them, I just feel the best way is just to go through the legal routes and be documented, so you're not undocumented. Because I actually have a few of my friends who finished from my school down here doing a PhD in the US. So definitely those class of people do not have issues with Trump's policy. So for me, I think going through the legal route and be legal in the country, it's very, very key, because it gives you a peace of mind that you're able to do a lot of things to grow yourself job-wise, grow yourself economically, and then also contribute to friends and extended family back home.
All right, so thank you, Egage. Now, back here, Dowita, you know, because this whole exercise, when you engage, you know, analysts in this whole thing, they will tell you that Donald Trump is probably doing the right thing. That is even helping the immigration cause, just as Anu was trying to say, if this exercise is going to discourage the illegal immigration issue and all that. Now, people will tell you that Donald Trump is trying to facilitate legal immigration into the U.S. But let us look at the whole thing about immigration in the U.S. You know, you want to go to the U.S., maybe you have somebody that's applied for you. You know, you're supposed to be a beneficiary, and that takes an average of 8 to 10 years. I mean, the question is, how many people, let us be careful, because people are crazy about the U.S. anyway, but somebody that is facing a daunting economy, let's say, I don't want to mention names now, and the person wants to leave, he wants to jackpot, then you tell that person to wait for 8 to 10 years before he leaves. Perhaps U.S. need to look inward on some of their immigration laws and policies to see that they can actually help, because this whole thing boils to their constitution. I mean, imagine we're talking about the end to birthright issue now, the 14th Amendment and all that and all that. So I think U.S. need to look inward so that they can help the situation really with that.
Well, unfortunately, the U.S. cannot help the situation under Donald Trump. I think for the next 4 years. Funny enough, somebody's already saying they say they should disturb the amendment and increase the 2 times to 10 times on the left-hand side anyway.
Yeah.
So we should not expect anything like that from this presidency. So maybe after 4 years, maybe if another man got elected to the White House. So talking about this, the American system is so that, you know, that is institutionalized. That's what I want to institutionalize. Everything is constitutionalized. Talking about the number of years that are given to certain category of person, like those who have green cards, American citizens. You can fight for your brother, you can fight for your child, you can fight for your wife. There are categories. I think patience is golden. 7 years. So that day my daughter entered University of, before you know 4 years has elapsed. Before you know you done your NYC, 5 years. Before you know 7 years. I think people should just be patient. And while waiting,
patient with a harsh economy.
Look for alternatives.
Situation.
Look for alternative. And find a way. Maybe you are still a young guy. Find a way to go back to school, empower yourself, so that when eventually, when you're opportunity to migrate to the United States or somewhere, you can be better equipped to fill into the system. So the most of the things, immigration laws, they are there. You don't need the Donald Trump to change such laws. As you can see, some of the move he has made, people are already challenging it, through I court order and things like that. So we expect people to be patient because the laws are there. You cannot just, it is not a military fiat, just like what we have in third world countries, what I work for Africa or in Nigeria, where people go behind the scene and bypass the law and those sort of things. But America is so institutionalized, and it is not, we cannot expect any changes in any amendment to change those laws. And I think those laws are fantastic. It's just for you to be patient so that you can fit in. You have to for self-improvement, suffer within the system. And I believe my brother, if somebody is really planning to do something, you create a way for yourself. It does is you persevere, But unfortunately, most Nigerian youth are dollar crazy. They want instant wealth. They don't want to. That's why some of them find their way that go to America, go to Europe via illegal means. But I want to advise Nigerian youth that look at the backlash now. A king who do not know the Israelites, you know what I mean, has come to the White House. You know what I mean? You know that what happened in the Bible.
Right, so now,
so this man, he doesn't believe in Moses. He doesn't believe in this. He said, everybody, if you are illegal immigrant, you must go. So I advise Nigerian youth that given the reality of the situation, plan well, persevere, be patient. A patient dog sometimes say he will not see meat bone to eat, but at least we've seen individuals that plan their way, that this improvement, education and the rest, and as time goes on, they make their way in life. So Nigerian youth, please, take things easy. If you are still young, 14, 20, 30, or thereabout, improve yourself. A situation, there's no permanent situation. There must be a change. So that tomorrow, just like what is happening today, you will not be a victim. Because nothing is permanent.
All right. So that being said, in fact, my next question to Iponsa now, you just took it out of my mouth. Iponsa, if you can hear me, my question to you would be, now the situation is given that very likely every individual who is illegal that is residing in America will be finding their way back to Nigeria. So what would be the psychological effect to persons who already know that this is their fate? They are coming back to Nigeria. And there is no likelihood that the level of crime will not increase because these ones might be, might have been picked up on the street without having to go home to pack whatever they have there. So what will be the situation that they will face when they are coming home? Did you get my question?
Yeah, I did get your question. Yeah, it's quite a very sorry state because, like you said, they don't have the opportunity to kind of get their things or probably their belongings. So I think when their finances, they can actually get a few of those things, except someone will have to go actually help pack their things and send a few things back to them. It's quite a sorry state, and here they are. They just arrived without even them. It's so sudden, and it's actually very very demoralizing, and not everybody can actually handle the mentally in the right way. Some could actually just decide to do something very very crazy. But for me, it's that's the reality, and most people actually anticipated it when during the election that if it comes, it was going to be brutal. So it has come now. It has happened, and I think people just have to deal with the reality. They have pill to swallow, but I think people just have to brace up. It's not the end of life, and we just have to forge. People just have to forge ahead. For those who are in those situations, I sympathize with them. It's quite a lot, and but I think they just have to forge ahead and be dogged. It's very,
When you
very
say they
disheartening.
could do something crazy, so when you say they could do something crazy, is it out of place for the services of a psychologist to come in, especially from government provision, to make sure that their psyche is stable? Because, like you said, it's actually crazy. Some might have been picked up on the street, so they may not have the opportunity to pack their belongings. Some might have money in the bank. They may not be able to get those money out of the bank. So whatever they have as at when they were picked up is what they're coming home with. So do you think that the services of a psychologist needs to come in place to be able to check these ones as they come into the country or as they arrive into the country?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's where the reintegration, or I think the host country where they are coming to naturally comes in. So you don't just bring them and just discard. I think, so in other words, the reintegration of the host country actually has a huge role to play to kind of reorient them, try to psych them up positively, because individuals and human beings react to things differently. So for me, I think the host country actually has a lot to play in terms of their psyche and kind of the mental psyche, kind of encourage them and to forge ahead. It's really disheartening. And for those who have friends back, many of them have friends, so they will have to reach out to them to help them probably get their belongings or any financial things they have to kind of get that across to them. So I think the host country, in a nutshell, has a role to play to kind of help them stabilize mental-wise. Thank you.
Okay, so speaking about the host country, let's come back here in the studio. Nigeria, for instance, at this moment, we haven't seen any reports or any reaction, no statement from the presidency. So what would you say to the Nigerian government, and what do you think we should be doing at this point, especially Abike Dabiri Arewa? What should be her stance on this?
I think what the federal government should be doing now is to prepare grants to accept them. For me, they are heroes.
They are.
They are heroes.
Really?
So they are breadwinners. Their families, some of them are paying school fees for people here. University, this and that. So the federal government should prepare a very good grant, prepare psychologists. Some of them will have mental issues. So they want to think, how would I come to Nigeria, given the harsh situation? You know, some of us cannot buy fuel for our cars now. You want to go to an assignment. You have to rationalize. That's the reality.
You want to break some tables. On that table.
So the federal government should have a package. A package. Should not just let them come and abandon them. They should, Abike Dabiri should be able to talk to the presidency. Because all over the world, you cannot replace the power of financial support. Even when the biggest economy is even crashing, you see government injecting millions, billions of dollars to support something so that you don't crash. So what I'm showing in essence that there should be a package. Nigeria is not a poor country. What we have is mismanagement. These heroes should be welcomed with open hands. These heroes, there should be a package for them, financial package to set them up. And I want to advise them, if they come, who says America is the only promised land in the whole world? Who says so? There are countries, there are New Zealand, there are some fantastic countries in Europe, Australia, where people can go and live and be prosperous. So the Tinubu government is being challenged. Please, don't treat our heroes. I call them heroes because they struggled. Nigeria is like a hellfire. That is my opinion.
Let us be careful.
No, it's my opinion.
No,
see, never before in Nigerian history, in a country that produces petroleum, we have oil in the Niger Delta. We are buying
the fact remains that...
Are you in hellfire now?
Thank God.
You are not in hellfire.
No, but I am an activist. I'm a human activist. Because I don't think of myself alone. I think of Nigerian people.
Or perhaps you wanted to say maybe Nigeria failed them at some point.
Nigeria failed them at one point. That's why I call them hero. Nigeria failed them. So welcome them. Yeah. Let them be happy to come and create avenues for them.
Yeah, as we wrap it
up. Some of them who are educated, scholarship. Let them go to Europe.
As we wrap it up, because Lagos is on the standby now, I know some of the implications that are greeting this decision is that if you go to grocery stores in the U.S. now, it's all empty.
Wow.
The whole thing is also exposing America that, it was immigrants.
That supported the economy.
It was immigrants that were running the economy.
The economy that built America.
So that's just it. So we just hope and pray that this whole thing will be done in such a way that it doesn't spell doom for the U.S., for the US economy, and of course for all around the world, so that it does not, see the relationship, because we're talking about diplomatic relations now. And funny enough, I'm yet to see allies of the U.S. in this. I've not seen any British national. Are we saying that they are not illegal? We don't have British nationals who are illegal?
We are watching.
Honestly, I feel the world should just wait and brace up, because as the day goes by, we're going to see other policies spring up. There's even the one regarding withdrawing aid for other countries.
World Health Organization.
Yes, from the new setters as well.
Even HIV, executive order has blocked it off.
So we might see a spike, with HIV moving forward, because he has held that money right now. So there are a lot of things coming up, and I feel the world should just brace up and keep our fingers crossed. Really.
All right, so I want to say thank you, Igage, all the way from Sweden, joining us this morning. Igage, thank you so much for being part of this program this morning. Okay. And also to please extend the handshake to Nowita there, Joseph Okata, and down to Anu. All right, so we'll take a pause now.